All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. Let's talk Rockets, episode number 61 here. So the All-Star weekend just commenced, and no Houston. Ah, that sucks, but it's all right. We got 28 games left on the slate. We're a handful of games behind the Golden State Warriors to get that 10th seed here. And, even if we don't end up getting it, obviously it'll be a huge disappointment. But it's not the end of the world. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Houston Rockets lineup change. Also, Jacques Vaughn just got fired. Houston has so many of the Brooklyn Nets picks. And so we got a bunch of Rockets talk for today's Let's Talk Rockets. Before we get into it, man, once again, this is a podcast slash show version. We've done 60 of these, and this is the first ever non-live recording podcast that I've ever done for this show, and I just want to test it out. We got into a little bit of a skirmish for the name Let's Talk Rockets, but I do just want to say shout out to Roosh Williams for being very civil about that, so appreciate that. You guys have been blowing up the pod, though. Links down below. These are always available pretty much immediately after these live streams here. And we got the second half of the season, so we should be getting a ton of Houston Rockets content out. I don't plan on really doing these offline very much at all because I kind of feed off the live energy. I like hearing your guys' questions. Like there's never really any design structure to these. It's more of an interactive type of thing. But I did just want to try it out and test it. With that being said, if you guys are listening, especially on Spotify, and you wouldn't mind throwing it a 5-star rating. We've only got 4 of them, and 2 of them are me. So I appreciate that a lot and appreciate all the love you guys have been showing the pod recently. So we'll get this out of the way here. The Houston Rockets, man, the future's very bright, right? We have the Brooklyn Nets draft picks. Now, to be honest with you, Jacques Vaughn, got fired earlier today. And we've got on the screen here from Salman Ali NBA. Houston owns Brooklyn's 2024 first round, 2025 first round swap, 2026 first round pick, and then the 2027 first round swap, all unprotected. To me, and this is what we've been talking about, more towards the trade deadline. We talked about it in the offseason. We've just kind of been keeping our eye on this. We want all this draft capital, not to necessarily draft it unless unless Brooklyn became like the worst team in the NBA and we were getting nonstop lottery picks, first, second, third, fourth. It's more so to package in a bundle for a superstar player. And I think Mikal Bridges is a very good player. I don't think he truly has that kind of it factor, that dog in him, that it factor that's going to move us from a playing team to a bona fide championship contender. I don't think Mikal Bridges alone would do that enough for me. With that being said, I would love Mikal Bridges on this roster, but I am glad that Houston didn't end up trading Jalen Green and a bunch of first round picks to acquire Mikal Bridges at the deadline, because that was kind of the rumor and report there. So let's get into the meat and potatoes here. And this is something I've been kind of working on this take unconsciously, subconsciously for a couple of days now, and I think it just kind of fully hit me. So Michael Shapiro, I think he's a writer for, I don't know if the Cron's a Houston thing. Yep, Houston's home for local news. Michael Shapiro wrote a really good article here. The Rockets are considering a lineup change. Why is that not such a bad thing for Jalen Green, and why Amen Thompson is the right player to fill the role? So Amen Thompson's been on an absolute tear, and if you guys have been watching this pod, watching this show for its entirety, I've been calling Amen Thompson the player of the future, the franchise player for this Houston Rockets team. I just think, his physical ability is unbelievable. I think his IQ is unbelievable. I think he lives, eats, sleeps, breathes basketball. And he just is a stud, man. And he's just a smart kid in person, it seems. When he hops behind the microphone, seems like a smart kid out on the basketball court, that's for sure. And he got shafted so much because a couple of games into the regular season, he got down with an injury and missed a chunk of time, then came back. He was playing like 15 minutes a night, 20 minutes a night. And now with Fred Double V's injury, we've been seeing Amen Thompson in the starting lineup, and we've been seeing him and Alperen Şengün, 2 unbelievably high IQ basketball players, I mean, Amin calls him his twin. Like these guys are so in sync. It is unbelievable. And it was why I was a little bit hesitant when we drafted Amin Thompson to go out and pick up a guy like Fred. But at the end of the day, we do need veterans. We needed veterans. We needed to spend money. We needed to spend the cash. Otherwise, we're going to get shafted and from the league. And we draft Amin, sign Fred, and the future is very bright there. But I'm curious what Fred and Amin's starting ability would look like for the foreseeable future. But what I want to say is this: I don't think the Rockets are going to change it immediately. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some slight tweaks on a game-to-game basis from Ime Udoka, but I don't think Ime is going to throw Jalen Green onto the bench to start off post All-Star break. But I don't think it's a horrible idea. I think what I want to do, and it's not even more of a continuity thing. It's more of a All-Star break is here. And on Thursday, I think we're playing on Thursday. Whether we play Thursday or Friday doesn't matter. It's just a good reset. And you've got these kids, Jalen Green, like 10 days ago, turned 22 years old. And, on this show, I'm 24. We've been talking about, life catches up. Life's got responsibilities outside of basketball. And sometimes that just gets into your head, right? The thing is this, we've got 28 games left on the slate here, and I would imagine unless Jalen Green does one to two things, unless Jalen Green starts performing at a more efficient level, unless that ball, that three shot especially, starts falling at a more consistent rate, uh, or he gets moved eventually to the bench and thrives in a six-man role, it's hard for me to imagine Jalen Green has much of a future in the long term with the Houston Rockets at this current rate. Obviously, I want that to change. I think most of my Rocket fans want that to change. But honestly, even with that being said, Jalen Green gets so much slack, man, or so much flack. Like they hate this dude on Twitter. They really do, and it's so frustrating because he's my starting shooting guard. And even if he's having a struggling year, like he is, you gotta back him. You just gotta back him. But I do understand. He's putting up 18 points per game, 41.1% from the field, 30.7% from downtown. I understand we need to see more efficiency. The issue I have is Jalen Green needs the ball in his hands. And if you ask a Raptors fan, it's kind of, they call it the Freddie double V effect because Fred also needs the ball in his hand. And you've got Ime playing him literally 37 minutes a night. And there's just not many opportunities for Jalen Green in that starting lineup with all these new faces coming in. Şengün's got the ball. Fred's got the ball. Jalen's a rhythm shooter. He's a rhythm player. He's a flow player. And when you go all these possessions without even touching the basketball, it's definitely going to disrupt your flow. It's going to disrupt your rhythm. So the idea of Jalen Green coming off of the bench in a more Jordan Poole level, Klay Thompson just got moved to the bench. He had a career night. I don't think it's a bad idea in the slightest. In fact, I do think it's what Ime Udoka should at least test around, play around with if in the second half of the season, post All-Star break, Jalen does, we're seeing, he's got 12 games scoring less than 10 points. If we continue to see the inconsistency post All-Star break, that's when I would want Ime Udoka to start testing and to start trying some new things, because here's what would happen. And unfortunately for my Rocket fans and my Cam Whitmore supporters like myself, Cam Whitmore's not starting the season. He's not going to, if Jalen Green gets moved to the bench, the player to replace him is not going to be Cam Whitmore at any point in this season, unless Amin Thompson goes down with an injury or Cam Whitmore just doesn't miss a shot. The issue with Cam is more, he's so young. This dude is so unbelievably young, and they call, tunnel vision defensively sometimes. I don't think Cam Whitmore's defensive consistency is quite there where Ime Udoka would just throw him into the starting rotation. I would love it. I know a lot of Rocket fans would love it. And who knows, maybe we will see that. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's only got one start on the season. But we also didn't see much Cam Whitmore in the first, especially 20 games. I think to even play in the first 20 games. The away the away woes for this Rock Show team is a huge concern, man. We cannot win in the slightest on the road right now. We can't win on the road. And players on the road are suffering exponentially. Like, I'll use Jalen Green as an example here, folks. Here's Jalen Green's starting stats at home this season: 19.3 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3.1 assists, about a steal per game, 43% from the field, and 34% from downtown. If the Rockets had only played at home, you would not want Jalen Green to come off of the bench. But on the road, Jalen Green, much like most of the Houston Rocket players right now, cannot shoot, they cannot score, and they most importantly cannot get the wins. So Jalen Green is averaging 16.7 points per game, 5 rebounds, about 4 assists on the road, but he's shooting 39% from the field and he's shooting 27% from downtown, folks. We cannot win on the road. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for hopefully an eventual Nerlens Noel signing, because having these veterans on your team, and keep in mind, man, we are very injured. We are very depleted, like a lot of teams in the NBA right now, but we have this youthfulness where Tari hasn't played since New Year's Day. Cam Whitmore's down with an injury. Fred's down with an injury right now. That hopefully when these guys come back post All-Star break and we're back at full strength, hopefully that's where we can really step on the throttle, step on the gas as such a youthful team and, take down these older veteran teams that their eyes are more on the championship and their eyes are more on the playoffs and just being healthy and not having these injury restraints in the postseason. So you'll see players probably start to take more rest nights. I'm seeing it with my my second round pick, LeBron James, right now, which is a huge issue in fantasy basketball, but it is what it is. Zion Williamson. But we need to get away wins. And that's where your veterans come in. And that's where I just need somebody to step up in the second half. So who do I think it's going to be? Who's going to step up in the second half? Honestly, folks, I think it's Jalen Green. I really think Jalen Green's struggles right now are mainly on the road. And I think people are really hating on his mental ability right now. And you can't mess with fate. You can't mess with destiny. And I think Jalen Green's destined to be a scoring beast in the NBA, and I'm hoping it's on the Houston Rockets. But I don't particularly think him and Fred's fit is the best. Now, once again, with that being said, Jalen Green for the first half of the season was just 21 years old, but you are in your third season, and we need to see a more consistent Jalen Green. So I will admit to that. Another thing I really want to see in the second half for this season is more minutes to Reggie Bullock. I just don't understand it. I've talked about it on this show for the last month straight. This is a player who played 78 games for Dallas last year. He started like 56 of them. And this season, he's shooting. The issue is, where's Reggie Bullock? 22 games. He's played 22 games and he's playing less than 10 minutes a night, but he's shooting 42% from downtown, folks. We're taking threes. Jalen's taking threes. Jabari's taking threes. Dylan's taking threes. None of those cats in the last month or so have been able to throw a grape in the ocean. We're fourth worst three-point percentage team, and we're the 10th worst three-pointers made team. And even just a simple switch from Reggie Bullock taking over Jayshawn Tate's place, I think would be very beneficial. I just want to see more Reggie Bullock. I just want to see these shooters get out there, because Jayshawn Tate, he is shooting 31% from downtown, but you'll see it. We just saw it against Memphis with Jalen Green, but you see it most games with Jayshawn Tate. If he's got the ball at the top of the key, your defense, the opposing defense is just they're gonna drift back into the paint, man. They're gonna let him shoot it. If it's like the whole James Harden thing, like, we're going to shut down James Harden and make the rest of your team shoot. Jayshawn's just not a consistent three-point shooter. And in this era in the NBA, I love Jayshawn's hustle. And I think he's still got a future on an NBA team as a rotational guy, getting probably 20, 15 minutes a night, like on a team like the Phoenix Suns or the Los Angeles Lakers or even the Clippers. But he's undersized and he can't shoot. That's just the reality of it. So I would like to see more Reggie Bullock. As far as the starters go, and that thing we had on the screen here for our visual guys here, I've actually seen a couple of floated. Let's check the chat. Fuck Jalen Green, jeez, dude. Like, come on, man. I have seen some, and once again, like the idea of Amon Thompson coming in as the 2, because he just plays winning basketball. The idea of Jalen Green going to the 6-man role. But I also saw recently Jabari going to the bench. And Jabari is an interesting player where I want to see I think Jabari's injury recently really messed with his shot. And we've seen it, these last 5 games. Jabari Smith, 13.4 points per game, 9.4 rebounds per game. Those are great stats, right? But he's shooting 38.8% from the field and he's shooting 24% from downtown. So Jabari is one of those players in his second season here where I just want to see. I mean, technically, ever since the month of November, every single stat he's been in has just gone down, like points, not rebounds, but efficiency. In the month of November, Jabari Smith Jr. shot 54% from the field and 42% from downtown, and that's the Jabari that I think we can see at a consistent level. I don't need Jabari. I think Jabari's role is Aaron Gordon. I think his role is Aaron Gordon. I think Alperen Şengün's role is our Nikola Jokic, and Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Freddie, they can be the Jamal Murray of last year's championship Nuggets team. But like, I don't need Aaron Gordon to score 20 points a night. I know Aaron Gordon can score 20 points a night, but it's the same thing with Jabari, where it's like it's more of his defensive versatility. It's more of his ability to stretch the floor. It's more of his ability to shoot threes at a consistent rate. And if he's giving me 14 points per game, like I'm perfectly fine with that. He's got a bright NBA career ahead of him. But I do just think that his recent shooting lows have been related to injury. And we also have to keep in mind, guys, like we're an injured team. Tari Eason, no game since New Year's Day. Fred's down with an injury. But like these guys, the NBA season's 82 games. And you're on the road and you're practicing every day and you're traveling and you're sleeping in not your home bed and you're hitting the gym and you're playing in these games. And it's just the wear and tear on your body. But especially these young players who Jabari's got one season under his belt. It's just learning and adjusting to the pace and the gruesomeness of the NBA schedule that lasts 82 games. These legs get tired. You get tired mentally. You get tired clearly physically. I really think that the Rockets in the second half of the season, my players like Jalen Green and my players like Jabari, Alperen Şengün, I think, has been very gassed. And I think it was very apparent Alperen Şengün in the last 2 weeks of the season before the All-Star break was gassed. These guys are just tired. We're a young team that's trying to learn how to acclimate to the 82-game NBA schedule. So, I don't think Jabari should ever leave the starting lineup for the rest of the season. In fact, I like the idea of Tari Eason being in the starters when he's healthy because the dude is just like Amin. Like these are high intensity, high IQ basketball players who, Tari Eason can shoot. Tari Eason's making about a 3 per game. He's taking 2.3s per game, but he's shooting 36% from downtown. He's shooting 47% from the field. But I think Tari Eason is not going to replace Jabari Smith Jr. Nor do I think he should. But Tari Eason's one of those players kind of in our back pockets here where he's really gotten the short end of the stick here because he missed the chunk of the season to begin with. He comes back and they kind of ease him into it, and then he gets injured. And it's just like, damn, dude, Tari's our second-year player who had a phenomenal rookie season, doing a little bit of everything. Like Tari Eason played 82 games in his rookie season. He started 5 of them. He played less than 22 minutes a night, and he gave me 9.3 points, 6 rebounds, 1.2 steals. He got me a half a block. He gave me an assist, 34% from downtown, 45% from the field. And it's just been very unfortunate, his injury this season, because there are games where Tari Eason is an absolute freaking beast. Like the game he got in the New Year's Day game, 17 points, 3 steals. Like when this guy gets out onto the court, he makes everybody better. But he's so young. He's only played like 100 career NBA games. So he's one of those players who it really sucks for the Houston Rockets and it really sucks for Tari Eason, his injury this year, because he's such a high impact player. Just such a high impact player. Nate Hinton, another one of these guys who, he's played 11 NBA games in his career, 34 career NBA games. That game before against the Memphis Grizzlies, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 threes, 3 of 5 from the field, 2 or 3 from downtown. This fringe rotational two-way type of player, really energy wise, that was an issue for Ime Udoka was, we just don't have that energy. Maybe I got to mess around with these lineups because these guys look tired. These guys aren't, giving me the hustle and the energy that I need to see from them. But the issue is, Cam's coming back, Tari's coming back, Fred's going to come back, and you want to give all those players run. And I was just talking about Reggie Bullock getting minutes, and I think Jock Landell should get at least some type of minutes because we got no backup center. So there's a lot of players that could be playing, and there's only a certain amount of minutes in every single game. So, but just Nate Hinton's one of those players that I really like his intensity, and I really like what he provided for me in that Memphis Grizzlies game. And I wonder what Ime Udoka change is going to come, because I do think, like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't think Jalen Green should come off the bench to post All-Star break. But I am curious if Ime Udoka is thinking a little bit of a different tune. But we'll see. And we'll see on Thursday. So the Rockets got to come out strong, man. We are a full, 3.5 games behind the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson just came off of the bench. Draymond Green's back. Andrew Wiggins looks to be himself. It's not going to be an easy task. If you had to ask me right now, do I think the Houston Rockets will make the play-in? Probably not, because that month of February so far has really sucked. I mean, in December, it was like clear as day we were going to make the play-in, but we need to go on a win streak, and it needs to start pretty much right now. We've got a road game against the New Orleans Pelicans, 8 p.m. Eastern time this Thursday, back-to-backer against the Phoenix Suns. Then you've got back-to-back games, not on back-to-back nights, but against OKC, one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And then you finish it off against Phoenix. That's our next 5 games. Those are 3 playoff teams. They always say it's so hard to win, back-to-back games against the same team. So you got the Pelicans, Phoenix, OKC, and Phoenix, and we got to go 3-2. I mean, you have to go 3-2. You just have to. So that's it. That's it for today's ramblings. Once again, I just kind of wanted to see what a non-live episode of Let's Talk Rockets would do. And so, yeah, hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. But once again, guys, even just a simple follow on Apple or Spotify, the link's down below. I'll also pin it as a comment, or type in Let's Talk Rockets, Jackson Elstro, something like that, and you'll see it immediately. But I appreciate all the listens, man. We've got like two of our last 5 shows have been careered. So I appreciate all you guys. And, we're just trying to grow this show. So appreciate y'all watching, or appreciate you listening. Throw this a review, throw it a follow, and we'll see you guys soon, man. Let me know your thoughts on the Houston Rockets for the second half of the All-Star, or the second half of the season post All-Star break. And we'll see